The Lake Babine Nation has always maintained our sovereignty and our responsibilities to care for our lands and for one another. Our relationship with treaties officially began in 1906. After a winter of near starvation, the fishing weirs previously removed by fisheries officers were rebuilt. Conflict ensued. The weirs had been removed at the urging of the canneries operating lower down the Skeena River. The canneries blamed the nation's upriver for declining salmon stocks. Fisheries didn't understand that we'd fished the river for generations and allowed many fish to pass. The weirs were only removed at the threat of imprisonment. The fisheries department provided rations and rotted nets. When the officers tried to remove the barricades again, the women of Babine defended it, reportedly with clubs. They knocked the officers into the water and sat on them. After the surrender of 9 Babine men, Chiefs Zach William and Big George negotiated a treaty with the help of Father Kokala to end the conflict. There was no surrender of lands, only the removal of the weirs in exchange for proper nets, farm equipment, a school, and several other services. Since the Barricade Treaty in 1906, Lake Babine Nation has been engaged in a continuous and uninterrupted fight to protect our lands, laws, and ways of life. In 1915, the Indian Reserve Commission, working with the church and police, reduced our lands even further. We continue to speak our language and practice our bathlats in secret, away from the eyes of the government. Then in the 1950s, without our consent, Old Fort and Fort Babine were amalgamated, and Wyoming was added as a permanent home for the Lake Babine. Despite these actions of the government, Lake Babine Nation retained our rights, title, and responsibilities to the land and to one another. Over the past 40 years, Canada and British Columbia created a treaty process to resolve these issues and to settle rights and title. In 1994, and in good faith, Lake Babine Nation hosted British Columbia and Canada in a feather ceremony, marking its entrance into the treaty process. Negotiations were slow, and government mandates required us to give up too much in return for far too little. As negotiations dragged on, industry and government continued to take and take from the territory. This was not acceptable to Lake Babine Nation. Lake Babine Nation proposed a new step-by-step agreement so the nation wouldn't have to wait until every issue was finalized in order to regain lands and decision-making. In 2020, a foundation agreement was signed. This agreement is not a treaty, but does signal the beginning of a 20-year journey to address Lake Babine issues with BC and Canada. The Foundation Agreement restores 20,000 hectares of land to the Babine Nation and sets out how additional lands will be returned to us, and establishes a process to implement Aboriginal rights and title. The agreement provides space and funding for us to redesign our governance away from the Indian Act and into a system by and for Lake Babine. Lake Babine begins to take control of and redesign programs and services to best meet member needs, moving towards full jurisdiction. Our new economic fund allows us to build wealth and inheritance for future generations. The agreement does not alter Lake Babine Nation's rights and title, member status, or tax exemption. If Lake Babine Nation feels that the spirit of the agreement has been violated, we can walk away. Lake Babine Nation leadership needs our members to make this agreement work for our nation. We are asking for members living at home and in urban centers to join advisory teams, meetings, and engagements in areas like governance, justice, and child and families. Our ancestors and elders endured so much to protect what we have today. We are now asking Lake Babine Nation families to step forward and contribute to a better future for our children, grandchildren, and all our future generations.